We're going to do the autopsy a little bit later on the show. What was the cause of death? What went wrong? But to this point, I've been pretty impressed with what Drake Maye's brought to the table. What have you seen from him?
Very impressed. And it's interesting because there was a healthy amount of skepticism, I feel like, when he came out. I can't remember, what you guys thought, but I just didn't remember this, okay? You guys know I'm never gonna be that guy that pretends I'm the quarterback guru and like talks about his footwork or whatever. But I had a lot of those people come on my show, over the course of the pre-draft process. Interestingly, almost all of them, I'm trying to think, Chase Daniel, Sean King, Phil Simms, Greg Cosell, Orlovsky, Riddick, I think almost all of them either said they liked Jaden Daniel more than Caleb Williams. They either flat out said that or they intimated as much, which I find very interesting, seeing how things have played out. They also all kind of said the same thing about Drake Maye, which is that a lot of physical tools that you really liked, but raw, inconsistent, all these things, which I thought was weird. How are you raw if you started every game for 2 years North Carolina? Like that's not a good sign. He has been awesome. I mean, and I'll say this when I do the next NFL Network game, they pretty inarguably have the worst offensive line and the worst receiving core in the NFL. So think about that. Think about the situation you're putting a rookie quarterback in, and yet we all feel like he's really good and he's playing really well. So I feel a lot better about the Patriots than I do about a bunch of other teams because they at least can feel extremely confident that they have their franchise guy. You guys can see the throws. Everybody can see the stats or when he runs. For me, it's the little things. He runs when he's supposed to, doesn't when he's not. He throws the ball away when it's the right play. He just consistently makes the right play, whether it's running for 7 yards, throwing it away. There's at no point when you watch him do you think he's a rookie. Like, you don't think that. Even the touchdown flick he had, I think it was the Demario Douglas. Yeah. It was like a no-look shovel pass, like Farvian, if you will. I love the guy. I think they hit a home run with him. And on the other side, Gonzalez is outrageously good. If you guys didn't get a chance to watch it yet, watch him against Marvin Harrison Jr. It was like he was stuck to him like glue. I don't know how much that says about Gonzalez, how much that says about Marvin Harrison Jr., but it was super impressive.
Yeah, like Drake Maye looks spectacular. And on the one hand, you feel great because it looks like you've hit an absolute home run at quarterback, obviously the most important position. On the other hand, as you said, the situation around him is kind of terrible. I mean, Steve said on the show the other day, Drake Maye's great. Once you give him 5 new offensive linemen and a whole new receiving core, now you're really in business. So how bad is it around him, and how quickly do you think you can turn that around?
It's really bad. The biggest concern, first of all, they have guys starting on the offensive line. Before I was prepping for the Cardinals game, I never heard of their right tackle or center. DeMontre Jacobs and Ben Brown. Like, that never happens. Never happens. The bigger concern is that the guys that are still tasked with turning it around, they're the ones that did this draft class, which has been a huge disappointment. They're also the ones that decided to re-sign Peppers and Duggar and Godshaw and Uche and Owenu and Hunter Henry and Stevenson. I mean, if you ask the rest of the NFL how many of those guys they would want with the current contracts, it's probably just Hunter Henry. I mean, the other guys have all been disappointing for the money they gave them based on them thinking that those were core guys. So I think you can turn it around pretty quick with the most salary cap space if you're picking the right middle-class guys, upper middle-class guys. But I think you'd be right if you're a Patriots fan to have some skepticism about the current guys that are tasked with doing that.
And, of course, one of the biggest stories, Ross, you played for Bill Belichick, right? You played for him. Nobody knows Bill Belichick better than you except the guys that played for him longer. What were your thoughts? Bill Belichick going to UNC, how's that going to work out? How surprised were you that he took that job?
Well, by the way, everybody's asked me to comment on this, so of course I do. I'll say whatever I think. Everybody replies, "You only played in one game for him. You only played in one game for him."
Doesn't matter.
Two things on that. First of all, if you're going to go to Pro Football Reference, make sure you check out the playoffs too, because I played in that playoff game against the Broncos. Brady was undefeated in the playoffs until they put me in. Okay. That was the Patriots' first loss. My only playoff game of my career was Brady's first playoff loss when Ben Watson chased down Champ Bailey from behind. Still the sickest thing I've ever seen by a specimen on a football field. 100-yard sprint from my guy, Ben Watson. But by the way, I didn't play that many games. I was there for parts of 2 seasons. I know what the guy's personality is like, okay? Clearly, the best schematic head coach I was ever around. Unbelievable, guys, how he could say the key to this game is Jimmy Smith on crossing routes on third down, when we're playing the Jags in the wild card round. By the time the game came around, the only thing I knew for sure is that Jimmy Smith's ass was not catching a crossing route on third down. That's all we talked about all week. And so he's the best I've ever seen at those things. That said, you guys know I follow college football very closely. The things that are probably most important for the head coach or the CEO, if you will, being able to help convince 17-year-olds, 16-year-olds, 18 sometimes, and their families to come to your university and want to play for you, and being able to convince millionaires to give money to you so that you can spend money on the players. I've talked to several. Look, I just did a Patriots game, right? And I've also talked to other guys. I've seen Edelman's comments and Brady's comments. Nobody can really picture him doing either one of those things. So that will be fascinating to see him. I mean, I think he can do it. He just doesn't really want to, right? And when he's in the pros, he's 100% negative reinforcement. So the first thing you do at 8 a.m. every morning is watch the 5 worst plays from the day before, and he makes fun of you or rips you or whatever. So one of two things is going to happen. I'm either fascinated to see how the college kids react to that, or he's going to change. Belichick's going to change. I still believe he'd rather be in the NFL. I still wouldn't be shocked if he never coached a game for North Carolina. Or I definitely wouldn't be surprised if he only coached there for 1 season.
Wow. So, yeah, we've heard some of those rumblings about, how's the college game work, the NIL deals, everything you mentioned. We'll see how that works with Bill.
Thanks for watching all the way to the end of our video.
For more great content, click here to subscribe and here to watch another video. We'll see you again soon.